I was 8 years old, sitting on the back staircase of my house, and I can remember it like it was yesterday, looking through my knees down at my feet, just absolutely shaking in fear. My stomach was churning because I knew that my dad was on the way to come pick me up on a Saturday for a weekend visitation, and he had no idea the ambush that was waiting for him. And even to think about this story, it's like one of the worst stories, and I get sick even thinking about it. But I think it's important because it shows the truly destructive nature of parental alienation, not only on the relationship, but on the child, on me, and how badly this affected me. So just to dive right into the story and kind of give you the background of what ended up happening was, first things first, to understand that my controlling parent, which was in this case my mother, and her support system, which is the regime, was absolutely strict on pickup times and drop-off times. If you were to pick up somebody at 8 o'clock, if I was to be picked up at 8 o'clock and you were there at 8:03 and you missed that 8 o'clock pickup, you forego your visitation. My dad had every other weekend that he was able to see me, and if you missed that time, then you gave it up. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Likewise, if my pickup was supposed to be at 5 o'clock and we rolled in at 5:01, there was hell to pay, there was a scene to be had, and there was carnage that would follow. So my dad had something happen to him where he knew that he was going to have to work on a Saturday morning, but did not want to give up that time and have it be, well, forget about it and not be able to see me. So he had made arrangements so that his fiance would come and pick me up, so that we would secure that time, and then he would join me as soon as after he worked. Well, I had known that there was going to be an altercation when his fiance came to pick me up. So instead of just having a phone call and saying to my dad, look, this isn't going to fly, don't do it, we need to make other arrangements, there was going to be first a fight and a altercation with her. And instead of sending me off to grandparents, sending me off, locking me away, putting earphones on, TV, so that I didn't hear this, I got a front row seat. It was a 2-story house that I lived in, and the altercation was to take place in the driveway, and my aunt strategically took me into the bedroom right next to the bedroom window where I could look down on the scene that was to unfold. So not only was I taken away, I was given a front row seat to this. Well, she ends up coming, and there, right out of the door, my mom comes out, you're not taking him the visitations with his father, blah, 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 blah. Starts automatically hurling awful insults, not a reasonable conversation. Now the whole time, my aunt is next to me as I'm watching this, and she's giving me the narrative. She's giving me the play-by-play. Oh, she's awful. Look how mean she is to your mother. Oh, she's being terrible to your mother. There was a little bit of language that it transpired, and I was told, oh, she's got a gutter mouth. Oh, she's trash. She's filth. What a creep. How dare she do that to your mother? I am just going crazy inside. Needless to say, the pickup does not happen. The pickup, my mom says, send my father and we will take care of it. Well, once again, now we're going to have the battle of all battles. It's my mom, my aunt, and my grandfather. My grandfather is waiting downstairs in the basement for my dad to come. Now, just the setting of this is we're in a two-family household. So we have a back staircase that winds up to us on the second floor. There's another tenant, and then there's a basement floor with a back door to the garage. So my grandpa is strategically placed in the basement. My mom is waiting, and we know that now the altercation's not going to happen in the driveway. It's going to actually happen once you step in the door right near the stairs and the stairs to the basement where my grandpa is. So of course we can't have me hanging out in the bedroom by the window because that's not where the action is. So I'm given once again a front row seat at the top of the stairs so that I can hear what's happening down below. My aunt is sitting next to me again, giving me the play-by-play. My dad gets out of the car, and immediately, upon entering, he's getting yelled at, screamed at. She's this, you're all kinds of bad language, bad things that you can say to somebody. My dad is not a yeller. My dad has never raised his voice. My dad is very matter-of-factly, very like, hey, I'm sure that this, I'm not sure how this got so blown out of proportion, but I'm sorry that it happened, but, let's just not make a big deal about it. I'm here now. I'd like to take Ryan. Oh, no, 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 no. And the calmer that my dad stayed, the more incensed and angry they got. And they got so mad that just fueled the fire. And so as all this is happening again, I'm just sitting at the top of the stairs shaking at this altercation. And I'm being given in my ear, it's awful, he's terrible, look at how awful he's being to your mother. Well, one thing you have to know about me is whenever I would travel, I loved wrestling guys, the WWF wrestling guys, the big rubber ones. I had a whole crate of them and a wrestling ring that I always traveled with. And it was always a thing. So by the door downstairs was this wrestling ring and my wrestling guys all ready to go. So in this altercation that's happening, my dad again is trying to stay very calm, and he picks up the wrestling ring and says, well, I'm sorry that it happened, but I'm going to take Ryan now and we're going to go. My mom takes the wrestling ring and says, absolutely not, and throws the wrestling ring down. It's at that point that we hear this loud crash of this, and my aunt says to me, he just threw your mother down the stairs. So I'm crying, I'm hysterical, and now instead of saying, something bad just happened, stay here, which I shouldn't have already even been in the area, instead of stay there, she starts grabbing me so that I can go down the stairs. So my little legs are going down one stairs, then I'm taking 2 stairs at a time, now I'm taking 3 stairs at a time, winding down this staircase. I'm literally being dragged down the stairs. I come around the corner. By this point, there's a little landing to the main area. By this point, my dad is trying to back up and get out of the door. So he's in the threshold with the door open. And my grandpa and my mom are yelling at him, and as he's backing up, we come down the stairs. My aunt comes right up to him, pushes him out the door. He goes flying out the door backwards. They're yelling, screaming. The rest of the troop go out there. They're yelling and screaming at him, walking him back to his car. Because they're telling him, there's no way you're going. You're not going to see him. You're causing all kinds of problems. All these things. Awful things. On the way, as they're going along, my aunt hits her hip on the side mirror of the car. Get to that later. My dad goes back into the car. Now I know this because when this all happened, I crept down the stairs and looked out the window, the door, to see what's happening. And I see them all beating up on my dad, getting him back in. Then I start to see that they're going to start coming back. So I am absolutely beside myself, running back up the stairs. When they start coming in, they're all riled up. And I can just remember feeling like I was just collapsing. I mean, I had no energy. I was crying. I was sick. I remember grabbing the railing, and I just kind of fell down and kind of hung on the railing. And they said, do you see what he does to you? Do you see all the problems that he causes? Do you see how you feel right now? That's because of him. Do you see what he does to you? And at that moment, I associated all of this awfulness with my dad and with him coming in to the situation. And they said, you don't want to feel like this, do you? You don't want to go with him, do you? And I was like, well, if going with him means that this is what's going to happen, yeah, no, I don't. And that was, again, bingo. That's what they wanted. And so as I as I was, taking all of this stuff in and being absolutely just crushed, and also crushed because at that time when I was sitting in the stairs with my legs shaking, knowing what my dad was walking into, I couldn't say, please don't do this, please, I love Daddy, don't do this to him. There was no saying that, because if I said that, after all they've done, and they're the ones that love me, and they're the ones that care for me, if I had said that to them, then I would have been on the receiving end of all that anger. And so I learned from an early age, I can't say that stuff. So here I am feeling bad that this is all going to happen, absolutely powerless, cannot say anything. And so as I'm just there dealing with all of this stuff, feeling awful, feeling bad and guilty and just utter despair, they're high-fiving. Did you see the look on his face? He was so scared. Oh, he's such a wimp. Oh, he's so awful. He'll never do that again. Well, my dad, after this altercation, called the police. And the police and said, this is what happened. These people all came at me, blah, 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 blah. My aunt starts saying, well, I'm the one with a bump and a bruise on my hip. Yeah, it's because you were doing all this crap and hit yourself while you're trying to, berate someone else and almost come to hit him. And yet because you do that, now you're the victim. And I saw that with my own eyes. That wasn't a story. That I saw that with my own eyes that happened. Well, nonetheless, they get called by the cops to come down and to talk about this situation. Now, my dad is a 6-foot guy, a big guy. My aunt and my grandpa, by comparison, are smaller. My grandpa being a little bit older at that time, and my aunt, who is very, very strong, very big boned, shall we say, in terms of her stature. They go down to the police station. Us? We didn't say anything like that. Look at us, just my poor old father and me. We would never do anything like that. You've seen him. He's so big and scary. He was really scared in us, and he really scared my nephew. And so I don't know. I don't really know what to do. Well, the cop goes, I really don't know what the hell to think, because this doesn't really make any sense. I don't understand how these two. So it goes away. It's a wash. Now meanwhile, while I'm still, again, completely destroyed by this whole situation, again, high fives. Did you see? I went down there, and the saying was, which I have been privy to hearing how awesome this all was for my entire life. Remember that time that we made him so scared, blah, 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 blah? The line was, we did such a good acting job, Sarah Bernhardt, eat your heart out. And they were so proud of how they not only created all this awfulness, but then they were able to go down there and pretend that they were just real innocent. Pisses me off. That you can not only do that and have the lack of awareness. It's not even a lack of awareness. You're actively doing this because you're so concerned about you and your control. And that's what this is all about. Parental alienation is all about control and people being caught up in what they want and their hatred of somebody else without thinking about the child, without thinking the abuse that is between a father and a child, or a mother and a child, depending on who's doing the alienating. But most importantly, the emotional scars that leaves, the damage, the long-term damage that does. It's beyond words. And so that story, that creation of drama, that creation of strife and awfulness, that is what my entire life was like. That anything that related about my dad was made to be difficult, petty, awful, and then he got the blame. So it's literally like, imagine showing a picture to somebody, and every time you show that picture to them, you burn their hand with a flame. And then you go, see what that picture, every time you look at that picture, your hand catches on fire and you burn. This is exactly what it is in parental alienation. You associate awful things that you create or awful scenarios that a parent creates and associate it with that other parent that they want to alienate, that they want to destroy a relationship with. And that's all it takes. And you do it over and over and over again so that that's all the child knows. And you would think and you hope that as the child gets older, they can start to see it. But when that's all they've known, it's a lot harder. And so I really want to start to take this experience that I've had and start helping people and say, what could be the warning signs? How could you have helped me figure out what was going on sooner? Because let me tell you something. I eventually found out. And the handshakes and the hand slaps of congratulations stopped. And not only did I find a relationship with my dad, it's the best family relationship I have. It's certainly the best parental relationship I have. And it is all based on love and unconditional love and a giving love, not a selfish love. And so ultimately, I am the one that had the last laugh because I have a relationship with my dad. And now I want to help other people who've gone through the same stuff find their way back so that they can reunite with their child. So that that child, though painful, can realize that they've been lied to and manipulated their entire life and that everything that they thought they knew was wrong. But what they actually realize is that that was never love in the first place. Not the kind of love that you build a life on, that you build a legacy on, that you would ultimately want to build your own family on. That's not love, that's abuse. It's child abuse through parental alienation. And so I'm completely blessed to have a relationship with my dad who is the most loving, caring, and compassionate person, and nobody can take that away from me. And I don't care that I have missed out on 25 years of what that relationship could be like, because starting at age 25, I started to rediscover and eventually had a relationship that is amazing. And so I would say that 1 year of a relationship with my dad in that kind of a loving relationship trumps 10 years of that other stuff that other people call love. And so I want to help people. I want to help kids and parents understand what this parental alienation is about. I want to deconstruct it. I want to show people how they can combat it, how it's never over, to give people hope that it's never over, and to bring awareness and to take these people who are doing this to their children, and I want to shine a big flashlight on them, so bright that it burns their eyes. So that's my mission. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't really want to do it. Hadn't planned on doing it in terms of my putting myself out there like this, but that's what I'm going to do. And I hope that you'll be along to share your story and to find out what you can, pick my brain about how you can create a better life for yourself and have the relationship that you want with your child. So let's see what happens.